Many people, of course, like to leave a legacy of some sort to a charity. All of us at some point probably given money to charities, either out of your own pocket right away, or you write checks, or whatever the fundraising, or whatever the case may be. And these are all wonderful things that we can do. Except the problem is that the moment the person, of course, passes away, that's the end of it. You no longer contribute anything. So what we want to talk about today are essentially how can we leave a legacy? In other words, what are the things that we can do in order that, in actual fact, that memory, you might say, or continues on beyond the grave, beyond our passing away. So we're going to look at those things. But before we do that, let's look at just sort of a very, very brief framework of how charitable giving actually works from an income tax perspective. Okay. First of all, the first $200 of any contribution is 15%. So that's usually obviously the smallest amount, whatever it is. And then any balance above that is at the highest marginal rate, go up to 33%. Now, it used to be 29%. But about 2 years ago, whatever, they put an extra layer on the top. So now the top rate is actually 33%. Okay, and the provinces, of course, will add their own little piece to it as well. So you have to take a look at your province and see over and above whatever the federal government says, what does the province do? And that's something you have to look at on an individual basis. But that's basically the framework that we're looking at. The other thing is that there is a limit. Okay, in other words, you can't just throw any amounts of money in here. There is a limit, and that limit is 75% of your net income. So while you are alive, you can put in up to 75% of your net income. And so therefore, any months beyond that, you're going to have to do it the following year, and so on and so forth. Okay. However, at the year of death, it is 100%. Okay, it is 100%. So at the time of death, you can throw in 100% of your income and everything. And you can use that 100% to cover your current year. In other words, your executors and whoever's doing your final, what they call terminal T1, they can use that for that current year. But they can also go back 1 year. So you go back 1 year, reassess the whole thing for the previous year. So you can basically go back one, and of course use it for the current year. Okay. So let's look at a situation where Rohan decides he wants to leave a whole pile of cash to a charity. So he donates $200,000 to a charity. His net income for that particular year, however, is $140,000. So as I said before, now, even though he might want to be generous and throw in the $200,000, he may not be able to do that and be able to deduct it for that particular year, because the other problem is that 75%. So the allowable tax credit is $140,000, okay, times 75%. So the maximum that he can put in while he's alive, remember this is while he's alive, is $105,000. In other words, even though he'd like to give that $200,000, that's fine. The charity will be glad to take that $200,000. But in terms of a tax deduction or tax credit, basically for that particular year, Ottawa's only going to allow $105,000. So what happens now with the balance of that money? In other words, what happens to that $95,000? It's not lost. Okay, it's not lost. In fact, what you can do is carry forward that $95,000 right up for the next 5 years. In other words, he can take a deduction next year, the following year, and so on and so forth. Okay. So basically, what we're saying is that the first rule of thumb is that in the current year, all you can put in while you're alive is 75% of your net income. So another example is $105,000. The balance of that money, which is $95,000, can be carried forward up to 5 years. Okay. Now, once again, if he ends up dying anytime within that 5 years, then the whole $95,000 will be used up. Like I said, it's 100% for the year of death. And of course, they can go back 1 year as well, you know. But basically, while he's alive, this is the only situation. You know. Now, not everybody's got $200,000 to give, you know, in one lump sum. So sometimes what happens is people would like to be able to assign an insurance policy. So the next thing we'll look at is how do we assign an insurance policy to a charity.